Okay, so we spoke about functions yesterday, right? So
Hmm.
functions are basically a block of code that we put together and give it a name, right?
Ah,
We give it a name, correct? That's basically the purpose of um,
functions.
functions. So now, if you talk about functions, okay, last time we discussed about functions which does not return values, okay,
Yes.
and
Ah.
which return values. Now we'll talk about functions that takes input value. Okay, so let's say if you write a function here, def function, and I call it a function one, and generally, we put bracket open and close, and then
Hmm.
inside this we write the block of code, correct? So let's say, how are you? And
I'm
uh,
fine, thank you. Like we can like
yeah. Now, okay. Now when
ha
you call it, okay, so this is function definition, right? Now
ha.
this is not going to do anything. This is not going to do anything. It's only when you
Hmm.
call them, that's when it actually is useful. So you call them and then it prints what is there here. Now
Hmm.
you can pass some values. Let's say I've got some values from user or somewhere. I've got, let's say, A equal to 5, B equal to 6, and C equal to 9. And I want to pass these values to the function. Okay. So what happens here, this function should have, you know, uh, it should take input values. Okay. So this is
Hmm.
like, we call it as function taking input parameters. We call them as parameters. Okay. So I'm going to put it as a main header, not in the side. Okay, so now when you try to call this function one, it says function one missing three required positional argument. Okay,
Okay.
it says required positional arguments.
Mean ABC you have to put instead of XYZ?
No, no, no. You have to give the values to XYZ.
Okay.
You have to give the value. Okay, so there are two important things here, required and positional. Okay,
Hmm.
so now here if I say, okay, print um, value of x, let me print in different line, is x,
Hmm.
value of y, and value of z. Okay, value of y and value of z. Okay, so so it says that you're calling function one, but function one needs required and positional arguments. These are called arguments, right? So we
Hmm.
pass the parameters and it takes the argument. Okay, so input are called arguments and passing are parameters. So, okay, you pass parameters and you input arguments. Okay, so here they're called arguments and here they're called parameters. You have to pass the parameters to these arguments. So it's like you are holding with three bag. So I need to give you something for the three bags. So function one has three bag here, X, Y, Z. I have to pass them. Have to, that's what's called required.
Okay.
Okay. Required means you have no other choice, but you have to pass them.
Hmm.
Required. So I can see A, B, C here. Or I can give whatever, 10, 12, 15.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is first type of parameter, first type of function where you have to pass required arguments. So this is required, okay, because you need to, it has three and you have to pass three. It's
Hmm.
called positional because X will take A, Y will take B, and Z will take C. Okay. X takes the first value, Y takes the second value, Z takes the third value.
Okay.
Okay. X takes the first value, Y takes the second value, and Z takes the third
Third
value.
one.
So it is in the order. That's why we say the positional. required, and positional. Now, what we have is opposite of required and opposite of positional. That's what we'll see. What is opposite of required and what is opposite of positional. Okay. Now I'm going to create second function. And I call it here x equal to 10, y equal to 15, and z equal to 30. Now you
Mm.
see, I'm giving default values here.
Okay.
This is called default.
Okay.
Means, okay, and this has to be different. Now means if I call function 2 here, and I don't pass anything. I call function, I don't pass anything. When I don't pass anything, what happens?
It will automatically take 10, 15,
10,
and 30.
15, 30.
13.
Okay.
Hmm.
So it is still positional. So if I give, it will take the positional. If
Because
I
you
give,
define the values of XYZ.
yes, if
That's
I give 12, 12 will go to X only.
okay.
Okay. So that's why I call positional. Okay. And
Hmm.
Y and Z will take the default value. Okay.
O-
So,
Yes.
okay. So this is your, so we call it opposite of required is default. So they have
Default.
default values. Okay.
Okay.
And here it's positional. So it is still positional. Okay.
Oh.
So when you run it, here it takes 5, 6, 5, 6, 9, and here it takes
Hmm.
12 because we gave 12, but we
12.
didn't give for YZ, so it took 15 and 30.
Okay.
Okay. So this is called um, um, default.
Default.
Now, here you see XYZ here. Now you
Yes.
can have function 2 where you give y equal to 12. Now when you give y equal to 12, so this value, this same
Yeah.
variable has to be here.
Huh.
This is called keywords. Okay, so we are using the keyword. This is for non-positional.
Okay, so if we want like Z ka value 15, so we can put here
I
Z
can
is
put
equal to
I
15.
can put z
Hmm.
equal to 30 here also, or I can put z equal to 30 here also. Doesn't
Okay.
matter.
हाँ हाँ
Okay,
ठीक
it is
got it.
still it will be able to read. That's called keyword.
Hmm.
Keyword is used for making it non-positional. So see, z is 30.
Okay.
So these are three types of functions. There is one more called variable length. We'll see in some time. But
Hmm.
these are three types of functions where you have default, positional, and required. Now you can use mix of them, right? Now, for example, here I can make x as required. Now x is required, yz is default.
Okay.
So when you call this function to, you have to pass at least one value. Okay. Here I'm not giving x, right? So when I run it, it is giving error because x is required. You have to give value for x. Okay. So I can say x equal to 12. Now when you run it, now it's all fine. Okay. X takes
Hmm.
12, z takes 30, y will take 15.
हाँ. Okay.
Okay. So this is how you define functions. So, you can have function can have a return value, non-return value. Function
Hmm.
can have um, like based on input, it can be positional,
Or non-positive.
default, required, or keyword. Okay. Now there is one
Hmm.
more type of functions called as variable length arguments. Okay. So let me define. No, so okay. So see here. This is very simple. Required is very simple, right? Now for positional and keyword, the keyword happens at the calling time, right? And default happens at the function definition. It's called function definition. It happens at definition time,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
when you use these variables equal to, it is in the definition, it is default. When you use equal to here, okay, in the body it becomes keyword arguments.
Yeah. Huh.
Okay. Now these are the tricks I learned when I used to remember when I was learning. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. So now, okay. So let's say I define another function here. Def function 3, right? And I say x, I say star y, and I say star star z. Okay. Now I'm using star here. Okay. Of course, colon you have to give, and I'll say print. Okay. Now see, this star is only at the time of here, not inside. Inside it is normal x y z only. Okay. Now what
Okay.
happens here is you can give any number of values for y and z. How? So I'll show you. Let me do it here itself. Function, function 3, okay, x you give 20. Now I'm giving 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Okay, now what happens? Since x is required, first value goes to x. Okay,
Hmm.
everything else will go to y as a tuple.
Hmm.
Everything else. Okay, I mean, you can, if you do not give anything, then it will be null. So it
Then
can
what
have
about
null.
Z?
Sorry,
What about Z? Z?
we'll come to z. Let's first understand why.
No.
We'll come to z. So all these values goes to y.
Why?
Okay,
Okay.
if you don't give, you get the empty tuple.
Hmm.
Otherwise, everything you give 0, 1, or multiple parameter, doesn't matter. Everything will go to y.
Okay.
Now, what does z get? Z gets your keyword arguments. So if I say fruit equal to apple, now see here, it is like keyword argument. So your left side variable does not have quotation, but right
Huh.
side, if you're giving
Keep.
string, you have to give quotation.
Hmm.
Okay, fruit equal to apple. Okay, calorie calorie equal to 150. Okay, and now when you run it, so see here, it takes it as a dictionary.
Huh.
Okay, it
Dictionary.
takes as a dictionary. Your this the
Keys.
variable before equal to becomes your key,
Keys
and
and
the
values.
value after equal to becomes the value.
Hmm.
Yes. So this is another way of accepting what you call as variable length arguments.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So this would be covered into Z.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So we'll stop here today.